We start with continuing coverage today on a story we first brought you last night. A recent audit of DJJ shows increased violence, job turnover, questions about the use of funds, along with many other problems.
That got the attention of state lawmakers, so they took their concerns face to face with the director of DJJ today. Jenna Krasina was at that hearing on the audit. She joins us now with the latest.
Good evening, JR and Darcy. And yeah, after 3 hours of back and forth, some lawmakers feel they still didn't get their questions answered by the director, and some say they don't even know if they want him to run the agency any longer. DJJ Director Freddie Pugh answered questions from lawmakers for several hours on the nearly 200-page audit on the agency done by the Legislative Audit Council. But before he did, Senator Dick Harpootlian asked Pugh to send the DJJ staff to go back to work and leave the hearing. Pugh started by saying he wanted to provide more context of the report and said he knows there are issues with the agency.
I don't for one moment come in here today to leave you all under the impression that there aren't problems at DJJ. That is not my intentions today. But my intention today is to acknowledge that there are problems, and we're putting the pieces in place to try to fix these problems.
Pugh and lawmakers agreed that security and staffing are the root of many of the reported issues in the audit.
And the single cause of it appears to simply be there's not enough JCOs, right? And that's our problem. You do not have enough people on the front line handling this problem.
That is a problem, and there are other problems that exist as well.
Is it the primary problem?
Yes.
But there were several times the director didn't have the answers.
Sir, you're running an agency. Is one of your officers being, I could call Leon Wright at the Sheriff's Department. He could tell me how many of his officers were assaulted last week. I could call Brian Sterling at the Department of Corrections, and he could tell me how many of his officers were assaulted last week. Can you tell me how many of your officers were assaulted last week?
I cannot.
Well, sir, you don't know the law. You can't tell me how many of the people you're underpaying were beat up last week. I don't understand why you're head of this agency. I don't understand why you're still there. Would you consider resigning?
No, sir.
Pugh took over the agency in 2017.
I've been confirmed now 3 years. In those 3 years, we've made great progress. You know, a lot of our concerns, a lot of our issues are framed in shortages of staff. And I get that. And I would appreciate any and all help to increase the staffing ratios.
After the 3 hours of questions, Senator Katrina Shealy says she doesn't feel they were answered.
I think the state of the agency is disastrous. I'm very upset about what's going on out there. I feel like children and staff members are not safe. You know, I've felt that way for a while. The problems start at the top. The way to fix a problem is from the top down. And I think that's what we'll have to do.
Now, the director did not take any additional questions after the hearing, but as far as next steps go, Senator Shealy says she plans to have a sit-down or meeting with the governor, but ultimately Shealy says that the governor would be the one to make that final decision as far as if Pugh will stay or if he will leave the agency. JR.
Jenna, thank you so much. The governor's office issued a statement after that hearing today saying DJJ must make improvements. In the statement, they say Director Pugh has a tough job leading an agency that has a long history of struggling with the difficult task of incarcerating and rehabilitating juveniles in trouble with the law. The governor's office says that the governor will continue to work with lawmakers to improve the agency and, more importantly, to keep juveniles from ending up at DJJ in the first place.